Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the Spanish legends that have been added recently to eFootball as packs. So we've had a couple of packs for David Villa and Pep Guardiola that were added to the coin store. I'll be looking at those, they were added with the update, but more recently they added Fernando Torres as an actual pack. I say an actual pack, there's only Fernando Torres in there, but it's still classed as a pack. As always though, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player, so if you want to hear about a particular player, click in the description and I'll be able to take you straight to them. We'll start with Fernando Torres. So, he's been added recently. It's a pack which contains Fernando Torres. You do also get a few trainers, whoopie-doo, but it's all about Fernando Torres. So, it's from his Chelsea days, goal poacher as always. Pretty sure it's always been his playing style, but let's jump over to eFootball Hub and see how good he is. So, comparing it to previous versions, there was one from the J-League when he played for Sagantosu. That version of him is the worst version of him. It's not great. This one is significantly better. We had a few previous epics from when he played for Liverpool, Spain, and Atletico Madrid. They're all pretty similar to this one, to be honest. If you've got one of those, you might not really feel the need for this one. Not a lot of difference, really. But there was a booster Spain card of Torres. So if you got that booster version of him, that for me is the best version. He is a bit better than this one. So if you got that one, you probably don't need this one. But to look at this one, what we've got, as I mentioned, he's a goal poacher. The awareness and finishing are fantastic. I always like a bit more pace in my goal poachers, as you probably know if you've been watching my videos. You can certainly get away with that pace, though. He's not slow. Decent kicking power. Got a bit of physical and aerial ability, not a great deal, but he's a bit taller than I always realised. You know, I always looked at him and thought he was maybe 5'10", 5'11". He's 6'1". So he could be alright in the air. He could maybe his training to be stronger in the air. Balance is good. Not brilliant on the ball. The ball control's fine, but not a dribbler by any means. So don't try and do too much with him when you get on the ball. And likewise with the passing, don't ask too much from with his passing because his passing is not great. But yeah, in terms of the skills, pretty much what you'd expect. So you got first time shot, chip shot control, acrobatic finishing, heading as well. He could be alright from crosses. You might want to give him aerial superiority because if he's got a decent heading there, the jumping's not far off 80. We'll see if we can nudge it up to 80. Aerial superiority might make a difference. It just depends if you're going to be putting many crosses into the box, I guess. But to kind of look at the way the points are allocated as a goal poacher, would I change it around? I would change it a bit. I think you can spare a bit off his awareness and his finishing, get him a bit more pace. So I'd probably want to do that. So I'll do that. I'll do a couple of builds. I'll do a build for a kind of pacey goal poacher, really make the most of his playing style, and then I'll do one for more of a physical one if you like putting crosses in. So you can spare. I'll go down to 90 on finishing. That's still great. And nudge is passing up to 70. It's only 3 points. And then, yeah, I'll do that. That last one, keep that on heading. So we'll leave a point on heading. Keep that at 80, but got the awareness still at 92. Kept that with the finishing nudged down a bit, but that's still at 90. But we've got that speed up to 90. And we got the kicking power at 91. I think that is a better build personally. I think you can certainly live without a few points on finishing if you get the kicking power and the speed up to the 90 mark. I think it could be pretty potent like that. It looks pretty strong. There are a lot of kind of booster epic striker cards that are better than this, but this is a good one. It's one that if you like a poacher with a bit of pace, if you build it like this, I think could be very effective. Could have a very good finish on him. So yeah, it's a pretty decent card. I mean, for 500 coins. You know, I always say when they do these occasional packs where it's kind of, you know, like the national team ones, or we had a France one and an Argentine one where you get a legend card and it costs like, I don't know, what, a couple of 2,000 coins, something like that. You gotta ask yourself the question: if they did a pack with 150 players and you wanted one of the legends, how much are you willing to spend? You know, 500 coins is 5 spins. It's pretty good value, I think. But yeah, I'll just quickly do another build, just see how good we can make them. If you like putting a lot of crosses in, if you're a cross spammer, as a lot of people like to call it, what could we do? We could spare a bit of the dexterity and the speed. What else can we spare? Take those few points back of passing. That'll do it. I'm gonna just lump all these in aerial. Boom. One left. Stick it on goalkeeper one. Or one shy of 90 for jumping. Tell you what, I'll nick one off dribbling. Be rude not to. Boom, there you go. You like putting crosses in? Awareness 90, finishing 90. Now I've got heading 92 and jumping 90. Stick aerial superiority on him. Could be fantastic from crosses. So yeah, still got a bit of pace about him. Obviously not as much, but yeah, that could be a viable build. So I mean, even just as an all-rounder, to be honest, that could be a good build where he's pretty decent in the air with these attributes. But the first build, they'll probably be a more popular one. If you want your poacher to have pace and to be getting in behind, if you're not really going to be putting crosses into the box, then that build would probably work better for you. But this build could work for you as well as more of an aerial threat. So yeah, a couple of ways you could try them, or you could just stick with the auto allocation, of course. Whichever way you do it, I don't think it's one of the top legend strikers. Obviously, I wouldn't put one a card that good in a pack for 500 coins, but it's certainly a good one. If you're a fan of Fernando Torres and you don't already have a card of his, I think for 500 coins you'd be very happy with this. Now we'll have a look at the David Villa pack. So for £2.49 if you're in the UK, not sure how much that converts to other currencies, but it's £2.49 for us. You get David Villa, you also get a few highlight cards. You get Rúben Dias, you get Perišić, you get Ollie Watkins, and you get 100 coins as well. This one and the Guardiola one that we're also going to look at are both in the coin store where you buy coins, in case anyone's not aware. So let's have a look at David Villa. So we've got a dummy runner version of him. He's been a dummy runner on his a big time card as well. There's been a couple of other versions of him. Poacher when he played at Valencia, and there was a prolific winger Barcelona card as well. Those two are both a bit better than this one. The big time dummy run is pretty similar to this one, to be honest. So if you've already got that one, I'm not sure when that was released, but if you've already got that one, you probably don't really need this one. And like with Fernando Torres, there was a J-League one from when he played at Vissel Kobe, but again, that was right towards the end of his career and it's not as good as this one. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub. Let's have a look how good this card is. So fully trained and boosted, fairly tidy. Again, like with Torres, we've got amazing awareness, really good finishing as well. He's pretty tidy on the ball, but the pace isn't brilliant. This is when Villa was in his 30s, but he's not a goal poacher. He is a dummy runner. It's a very unique playing style. So with a goal poacher, they're going to be aggressive with their movement, running in behind the defence at every opportunity. Fox in the box are a little bit more neutral. They make their runs forward a little bit later. With a dummy runner, what you'll find is they make runs from the centre out to the channels and they drag a centre back with them. It's a very unique playing style for a centre forward. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I play with a lone striker and I don't like a dummy runner as a lone striker because I end up with quite often without an option. I like having a centre forward always in the box and around the centre backs. I think most people do. Kind of makes sense. If you've got one striker and he's drifted away from the centre, then that can kind of mess things up for you. But just depends how you use your strikers. How many strikers do you use? Do you have two centre forwards? Do you have a centre forward with an SS as I do? Do you have a three-man attack? It depends on how you set up your attack. But dummy runners can be effective if you use them in a certain way. So not everyone's cup of tea, but if you do like that playing style, like I said, that's what he does. He'll drift that wide. He can play wide left as well. He obviously played there a lot in his career. But we're looking initially as a centre forward. Would I change a great deal? I mean, I would like a bit more pace on him. I think he's alright on the ball, but we can spare a bit from certainly the finishing. Let's just nick a few from finishing. Keep that at 90. I always do that. 90 I think is fine. I don't think we need that 1 point on passing. Take that for now. Ooh. You can increase dribbling by 1 and his ball control goes from 88 to 90. I think that's worth doing for a couple of points. Good value. We've still got 8 points to spare here. You could probably nick one off dexterity. And if we just nick one off aerial, we've still got 80 jumping. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that means we can get all the way up to 12 in a low body. Yeah, I would probably do that. So you get your speed up to 88 there. Acceleration 82. It's not brilliant, but with the speed to 88, we've got a bit more pace about him. And that kicking power up to 94. That's tasty. He's going to have a very nice finish on him. Balance is decent. He's got a bit of physical contact about him. Decent stamina. Got that ball control to the 90 mark. His passing's alright for centre forward. The awareness is still fantastic. We've only nudged that down by 1, I think. And that finishing's still at 90. I'd probably go for this. He's not a big guy, 174 centimetres, but heading 75, jumping 80. He could be alright from crosses now and then. He could pop up with a headed goal. He's not got a heading though. I certainly wouldn't be putting a lot of crosses in towards him. But in terms of the skills he does have, first time shot of course, and we've got long range curler, important one, especially we play him on the left. We'll look at that in a moment. Chip shot control, heel tricks nice, soul control of course, a few skill moves as well for the dribblers, but he's not amazing at dribbling. I think the better versions of Villa, the prolific winger and goal poacher versions are probably going to be much more suitable for people who really like to dribble and do their skill moves. But certainly if someone's going to be getting into good positions, taking chances and doing his thing as a dummy runner, I think he's got some pretty good attributes here. I think he's a decent card. I think some people look at their playing style and the fact that it's not the best version of him and write him off and not think it's a great card. But I think it could be an effective one. Like I say, it just comes down to that playing style more than anything. Yeah, he's good. The attributes are good, but if you can make that playing style work for you, it can be effective. But to look at him as a wide left player, would I do much different? I don't know. I think pace is the thing again. I wouldn't want to lose anything off the dexterity for that reason. Likewise, lower body. You could take those points off aerial. Could you take a bit off finishing? You could. How good could you make his dribbling? You could just do that, really, I guess, in fact. I'm going to go one lower. I'm going to stick one on finishing to get up to 80 curl on his long range curlers. To the left, we'll stick him on aerial. Getting past the 70 mark physical contact. I'll probably do that. If you're going to use this guy playing wide left, as he often did in his career, still got a decent amount of pace there, but we just beefed his dribbling up a little bit there. Don't need quite as much on finishing, but it's still at 80 for curl. I think with finishing 85, curl 80, kicking power 94, he's got long range curler. You could have a pretty tasty long range curler on him. So playing him wide left, I think if you've got a lot of legend cards, you've probably got some left wingers who are better than this guy. But if you're playing without a playing style there, which for me is fine, personal preference, I think he's tidy enough, decent amount of pace, not amazing, but could still certainly do a job. It's a card where I think if you're a fan of David Villa, and if you really want to play him wide left, then he could certainly be decent for you there. But like I said, if you've got a lot of legend cards in these positions, then, and if you're not a massive fan of David Villa, then it probably wouldn't be worth you doing that. But whether you go for auto allocation or you tweak him the way I just showed you, through the middle or wide left, it's not an amazing card like with Fernando Torres. I don't think they'll be putting amazing cards in these cheap packs, but for what it costs, if you can find a way to make use of that dummy runner playing style, make it work for you, it can be a very effective playing style. It's different, and sometimes it's good just to have another option in your squad, something a bit different to everything else. If nothing's working against your opponent, you've got this guy on your bench, you can certainly mix things up and kind of give you a different option. So yeah, and not an amazing card, but for what it costs and the fact it's a little bit different, I do think it's a pretty decent one, as long as you've not got a better version, which you may well do. But if you don't, it could be a decent one. It's certainly not going to cost you a great deal. And we do have a few highlight cards that come with David Villa. So let's start with Ivan Perišić. We've had a bunch of versions of Perišić. A few of them have been cross specialists. That's what this one is. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. And how good is it? Well, to be brutally honest, it's one of the lower rated versions of Perišić that we've had. But it might be one of the last versions that you get for a decent version of him, because he is getting on now, well into his 30s. I think he's just joined PSV on loan for the season, possibly. So it remains to be seen how often he plays. If he gets good form, maybe he gets a Player of the Week card, you never know. But yeah, it's not one of the better versions of him that we've had, certainly. We've had whole player versions. There was actually a defensive fullback version that's Player of the Week. That was a really pretty tidy one. Pretty good overall, one of the better ones, but that was mainly because it had a boost on its defensive and physical attributes. But it was a good card, that very interesting one. The two best versions of Perišić, one was a nominating contract one, I think, and the other I think came from a Croatian national team pack. They were absolutely identical. I mean, literally identical. Everything was the same, all the numbers, the skills, everything. But yeah, this one not quite as good as those. But yeah, we've got a cross specialist. That playing style, if you're not aware, you play him out wide, he's going to just hug the touchline, he's going to stay out wide and constantly try and get into positions to put crosses in. He won't be drifting inside as much as prolific wingers or roaming flanks. So it's not a playing style for everyone. If you like using proper old school wingers getting crosses in, it can work really, really well. But if you like your wingers to be kind of inverted wingers, to be getting inside into good positions in the centre, it's not going to work for you. He's left-footed, but he's very two-footed. So you can play him on either flank and you can use both feet, which is great. Skill-wise, heading, he does have a bit of aerial ability about him. Not a great deal, but he's 6'1", so he's not bad in the air. He's got heading, bit of a bonus on a wide man. But then we've got long-range curler, long-range shooting, rising shots, acrobatic finishing. So he's got some shooting skills. Heel trick's a nice one. And then he's got pinpoint crossing. On a cross specialist, that is important. So, yeah, could you use him as an inverted winger? You could. I think if you're doing that, you'd probably just get rid of maybe all the passing. Give him a bit more shooting. Nudge his dribbling up a bit. His speed, can't quite get his speed up to the 80 mark though. Maybe take a couple back from finishing. Yeah, as an inverted winger, you could maybe do that. Even then, he's not the quickest. He's not the quickest winger, this guy, but good kicking power. And on the ball, pretty tidy. So you could use him as an inverted winger, but like I say, if you play him as an inverted winger, he's not going to be getting inside much, so I'm not sure how well he'd work. Not the quickest, not great end product, and with that playing style as an inverted winger, not so sure. I think with this guy, pretty much with the auto allocation, to be honest, I don't think I would change much. I would just use him like that, and as an old school winger, certainly with that lofty pass 91, got a reasonable amount of curl, very good kicking power. With pinpoint crossing, he could be pretty effective on either flank, being two-footed. So yeah, a cross specialist, old school winger, could be alright. It's just that lack of pace is a bit frustrating. You know, we do get these wingers where I always say Beckham style. I don't know why I say that, but that's the kind of the obvious winger who didn't have a great deal of pace, but was super effective just through having fantastic crossing primarily. As that type of a winger, you could allow him to not have a great deal of pace because he does have a very nice cross on him and he's tidy enough on the ball, good attacking awareness, and decent low pass as well. So yeah, that kind of winger could be decent. You could use him as an SS as well. You'd probably want to put one-touch passing, through passing on him as skills. Beyond that, maybe you'd want to retrain him and get his finishing up a little bit. But I don't know where you take the points from. We can nick a few from passing. Where does that get you? Mid-70s? That might do it. I don't know where else you'd want to spare points from, to be honest, because his balance isn't brilliant. You need a bit more speed. So yeah, this isn't a brilliant card, to be honest. I think this is really a card where if you're new to the game, if you like playing with old school wingers and you don't have that many options yet as wingers who are good at crossing, and he could be a decent one to have. If you're a fan of Perišić and you don't have a good version of him, it might be one of the last chances you have to get a good one, in which case again it could be a card that you might be very pleased to get. But outside of that, quite one-dimensional, and he's going to be a little bit lacking either in terms of attributes like the pace or in skills if you're playing through the middle. So not a bad card, but it's not a brilliant one. It's probably not one that a lot of people will be too excited to get. Next, we have Ollie Watkins. So, Ollie Watkins, goal poacher, unwavering form. Let's jump over to the hub. How good is this Ollie Watkins card? It's decent. It's not the best Ollie Watkins card we've had. We had there's one in the England pack recently. And that one has a bit more speed, stamina, and tight possession. There's not a massive difference. Just has a few attributes. He's got a few more points on. There was a version in I think it was a Premier League pack a while back. It was like a yellow background that had a bit more pace and was a bit better on the ball than this. But this one's got more awareness and finishing. And there's one that's in a nominating contract pack quite a while back. One of those MVP ones with that horrible yellowy background. Wasn't as good as this one. This one's clearly better than that. Been a couple of Player of the Week versions as well. They had better skills than this one. We'll come to that in a moment. This one's got much better awareness though. That's the main difference. And there was a Player of the Season one as well. And that Premier League Player of the Season pack, that was a pretty nice card actually. It's a bit better overall and it had better skills. So speaking of the skills, we have an issue, and that's the lack of first time shot. It's the most important skill in a centre forward. He does not have first time shot. I don't understand why not. You know, on his Player of the Season card, those cards they did in that pack were based on how players have played over the course of the season. They gave him first time shot, and now apparently he's back to not having it for some weird reason. But either way, whatever the reason, he does not have it and he needs it. So if you're going to get this guy and use him regularly, give him first time shot. Also, he's got aerial superiority there. And even though he's not the tallest at 180 centimeters, at 5'10", 5'11", he does have 86 jumping and 80 heading. So I would recommend putting heading on him. He's got aerial superiority. He will be winning some headers. I actually used him just last night. I was doing some co-op with my co-op buddy, and he brought this exact card, not this card, the England pack version actually. And he won a couple of headers from crosses and he missed them both. And I said to him while we were playing, I said, if you gave him the heading skill, he'd have scored both those headers, and he would have done. So if you are ever going to be putting crosses in, and even just from corners and other opportunities in the game, I would recommend trying to put heading on him if this is a card you use regularly, if you get it. So heading and first time shot, especially first time shot, will be needed. But he's also got long range shooting there. Heel trick's a nice one. As I mentioned, aerial superiority. Maybe acrobatic finish would be a good one as well. Be worth putting on him. But yeah, it's a decent card. It's maybe not the best version of Watkins, but it's decent. He's a goal poacher. He does have pretty decent pace. Reasonable kicking power on balance. Not brilliant on the ball there. You know, the dribbling's not too bad, but the ball control and tight possession are a bit low. Be careful on the ball with this guy. You're not going to want to get on the ball and start trying to do too much dribbling or anything. Awareness is great, though, 93. Finishing 88. Could we get that up to 90? Let's have a look. Let's just nick a bit off dexterity. I think that's the obvious way. Straight onto finishing. That works. Will I nick some points from anywhere else? Be nice to get the speed up to 90. I'm not sure we can, to be honest. Certainly don't want to take him off dribbling. I think, to be honest, as a poacher, I'd just do that. It'd be nice to hit that 90 mark on speed, but in fact, we could probably nick another one off dexterity. Boom. I reckon that's worth doing. I'm going to stick the last one on passing, I guess. Yeah, it looks a bit nicer. Not a major difference, but still at 90 awareness and finishing, now at 90 speed. Still got decent acceleration, even though we've taken a few away from there. Kicking power's decent. Jumping's decent, as I mentioned. He's alright in the air. It's a decent card. It's one of these cards where if you're just going to be trying to get your centre forward in behind the defence, you're not going to get him on the ball too much and do too much dribbling and try and do too much with him in possession or in the build-up, then he could be effective for you. Obviously, he's not going to be great on the ball, but as a poacher, getting in behind the defence, getting into good positions, taking chances with his feet and potentially with his head, especially if you give him that heading skill, which I do think he needs. And of course, first-time shot he desperately needs, but with the right skills, depending how you build him, I think it's a decent one. It's not the best version of Watkins, but if you fancy having another goal poacher in your squad, you could do a lot worse. I think it's a decent card. And the final highlight card that you get with David Villa, it is Rúben Dias. So he's a destroyer as always. Unwavering form. I think we all know this is going to be a pretty good card. Let's have a look on eFootball Hub. How good is he? Goes to 100, fully boosted. We have had a few versions of Rúben Dias that go up to 101 or 102. So it's not the best version, but he doesn't always get to 100. So it is a good one. This is a good card. And as you can see down the middle there, he is fantastic defensively. He's an absolute beast. He's physically very strong. Jumping 89. I wonder if we can nudge up to 90. I'm sure we can. Heading 92. He's great at heading as well. The passing's decent for centre-back. Not brilliant on the ball. This is a big physical destroyer. So, you know, I mean, he's not that big actually, 6'1", but yeah. He's a bit of a thug, Diaz. He's not going to be technically brilliant. He's not going to be the most athletically pleasing. That balance is pretty horrible as well. Wonder if we can nudge that up a little bit. But yeah, it's a good Diaz card. Not the best, like I mentioned, but it's a good one. Skill-wise, I think we already know we're going to get a pretty good selection here. So heading and aerial superiority, he's going to be strong in the air. Then we've got man marking, interception, fighting spirit, sliding tackle. Okay, so blocker. If you get this card, you're going to use it regularly. It does look like a strong card. If it's one you're going to use a lot, blocker is the first skill I'd look to put on him. And also acrobatic clearance would be nice as well. So yeah, so especially blocker, but those two skills I think are the two you want. Low lofted pass, fair enough, nice enough to have, but I think blocker and acrobatic clearance are the two you'd look to put on this guy. But he's got a good selection of skills otherwise. Would we retrain him a little bit? We could do. If you want to leave him like this, he's just as an out and out destroyer, getting in the way of things and just breaking up attacks, winning the ball back for you. Could be super effective, so you don't need to do a lot. I would like to just beef him up a little bit elsewhere. Maybe make him a little bit better on the ball, bit on the ball there, a bit more dexterity maybe. So we can certainly spare a few from defensives. We just start by taking 4 off there. What we're going to do? I'm going to start with a few on there. Just get his ball control to 70. Got 9 points left. 4 on dexterity. We'll make it 5. Get the acceleration to 70. Got 3 points left. I know exactly what we're doing here. Stick 1 more in his speed. We've got 1 point. We're going to call in our old friend goalkeeper 1, and that gets jumping up to 90. Perfect. So the acceleration's up to 70. The balance goes up past 60. Still 90 plus, and all the defensives, the physical, and now jumping, heading up to 70 ball control, and a little bit more responsive now with that dexterity increase. So I think I would probably build him like that if I got this card. I've got a version of him that's pretty similar. It's obviously a great centre-back card. I don't see any reason why anyone wouldn't like this card unless you've got a better version, to be honest, or if you really don't like the destroyer playing style, which some people don't. I prefer build-up, but I don't mind having one destroyer in my defence. So yeah, like I say, I've got a similar version. He's a really, really strong centre-back. Whether you build him like this, round him out a bit, or if you just stick with the auto allocation and have him as an absolute thug defensively, it's a really strong card. So yeah, that's your David Villa pack. And for what it costs, again, I think it's decent value. You know, Fernando Torres, 500 coins, I think it's good value. For this one, £2.49, whatever it is, you get 100 coins back. And you get some decent cards in there. Even these highlight cards are decent value, to be fair. But David Villa might not be the best version of Villa. Might not be one of the better legends around. But it's David Villa. A lot of people love the guy. And it's still a good card with permanent B for him. So for what it costs, this is a pretty good value pack. And for me personally, I don't see myself using that David Villa card very often. But for a couple of quid, I'm going to get it anyway. Because I think it's good value, to be honest. And for 79p, you can also get Pep Guardiola. And you get 50 coins back. Speaking of good value, I think this is a no-brainer. So let's have a look at Pep Guardiola. He is, of course, an orchestrator. That's what he always is. Unwavering form, but he's always on B. Doesn't really matter. Let's just jump over to the hub. And I just need to check that booster first, actually, because eFootball Hub doesn't always reflect the booster. For these ones that are in weird packs, I've been having to manually check these and put them onto eFootball Hub. So we've got passing +2. Just keep that in mind if you're looking at these guys in eFootball Hub. Passing +2. We jump over to the hub. So as you see here, you need to manually select the booster here if it's not already done. Select passing +2. It's not showing up on the video thing, but it is for me in my browser. So there you go, +2. See, that wasn't already active. So passing +2 we've got on this guy. And clearly the passing is fantastic. It's probably the one area he didn't need a boost, but that's where he's got it. And yeah, it's a good card. We've had a couple of versions of Guardiola. There's a Spain version and the Barcelona version. Pretty similar, to be honest. Not a great difference. So yeah, again, a pretty good value. I mean, like I say, 79p if you're in the UK. That's not bad value. I'm going to be getting this guy, even if I don't use him very often. For 79p, just have a nice Guardiola card. Thank you very much. And 50 coins back as well as a bonus. But yeah, he's obviously great at passing. He's tidy on the ball, even though he's clearly not a dribbler. The dribbling's not great. The balance isn't great. He's not the quickest. Also, he's not the slowest either. Kicking power is really good. Bit of physical contact on him, and defensively he's pretty strong. I don't remember him being that strong defensively. I remember he was a good player. He had really good passing. You could always see he was a very intelligent player. He could pick a pass, orchestrating from deep. Don't remember him being that good defensively, but this card certainly is good defensively. Let's have a look at the skills. So what have we got? Cut behind, dipping shot, and of course passing, one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, outside curler, love the pass. He's going to be fantastic when you get him on the ball and start spraying passes around. Got interception as well, crucial one defensively. Captaincy, fighting spirit. So yeah, on the ball, brilliant with his passing. Would you want a bit more defensively? I think if you're going to play this guy as a defensive mid and give him any amount of defensive responsibility, I would give him man marking, maybe blocker, maybe aerial superiority, make him a bit stronger in the air because he's not got great jumping. And then going forward, if you're going to, you could position train him as a centre mid and have him getting forward a bit more. We still wouldn't be getting forward too much, but certainly would more. In which case, if he did that, I would look to maybe give him long range shooting. First time shot, long range curler, maybe just give him a few skills in his finishing, make his shooting a bit better. But for what he's going to be best at, he's clearly he's a deep line playmaker. He wants to get on the ball in the middle of the park and spray those passes around. He's great at it. Would I do much with the point allocation? Yeah, I see a couple 89s here. I want to nudge him up to 90, even if it's just for OCD. You could nick a bit off his passing. You don't need the passing to be that high. That's all of this is opinion, of course. If you want to keep the passing there, great, happy days. You've got a really nice midfielder, but I think we can spare 4 off there. We've got 8 points. I don't like taking any below 4, even though you could take another 2 and still be at 90 for both. The first 4 only cost 1 point each, so I'm going to leave those first 4 on there because it's efficient. Got 8 points there. As a defensive mid, what would I do? I actually would like more balance on him. We could spare a couple of his lower body. He doesn't need too much stamina as an orchestrator. He's not going to run around too much. And we basically got just enough for 1 increase there. All right, perfect. Yeah, I think I'll do that. If I'm playing this guy as a DMF, we've basically just nudged his defensive shot, hit 90 on both of these, and we've gotten some more balance. Sure, the attacking awareness is up to 78, but as a defensive midfielder, a bit more balance will help. It will help on any outfield player. And acceleration going out to 80 as well, making him a bit more responsive. I would do that as a defensive mid, and like I say, I would give him 1 or 2 more defensive skills, man marking, blocker, aerial superiority, those types of skill. Beef him up defensively, and as a defensive mid could be very, very nice. If you're going to use him just more of as a playmaker, not too worried about the defensive side of it, then you could take some points back away from defending. This is probably the kind of thing most people would do, I guess, but let's give a bunch more. Yeah, 10 points left. Stick on finishing. Yeah, I would probably do that. So as more of an all-rounder, still 80 plus on all your defensives there, and still a bit of physical contact on him, but it's a nice amount of acceleration, though, compared to the auto allocation. The attacking awareness goes up to 80, so we've got attacking awareness and defensive awareness, both 80 plus, which is great. On the ball, we've got the ball control to 90, and we've got nice passing now. Yeah, that for me is an all-rounder, as a kind of orchestrator. Whether you're using DMF or if you're position training for centre mid, could be very nice. And if you're really not too bothered about the defensive side of it, and if you've got 1 or 2 other midfielders doing the defensive work, you just want to go all in on the technicals. In fact, you could just, if you weren't bothered about shooting, he's not going to be getting forward into shooting positions that often. Just think, can we get that dribbling up to 80? How much more could we do? Do something like that. Yeah, that build could work as well. So if you're not worried about the defensives, get that dribbling up to 80, get tight possession up to 90, finishing still at 70, got a decent amount of pace and acceleration. Yeah, there's a few different ways you could train him. Ultimately, it depends on how much defensive responsibility you're going to give him, whether you're going to train him as a centre mid and use him a bit further up the pitch. But whatever you do with this guy, he's got fantastic passing on him. He's technically very sound. He can be made to be very defensively competent as well. So yeah, again, it's very similar to the kind of paid versions they've released previously. Obviously, this is paid as well, but all you're paying is 79p. I think for me personally, it's a bit of a no-brainer. If you're really strictly free to play, then I guess it's kind of irrelevant. I don't know why you're even watching this video, but if you ever spend money on this game for 79p, that's about as good value as a legend card's going to be, and it's actually a pretty good one. It's, again, it might not be a top level one. They're not going to give us a top, you know, like a Vieira or Hullet for 79p, obviously, but if they're going to give us one, I think this is a good one. So like with Villa and Fernando Torres, it might not be one you particularly need, but I do think it does represent value. And there's one or two different ways you could train him and use him. So yeah, but for what he costs, I think it's pretty good value. And you get 50 coins as a bonus. So happy days. So there you go. Some Spanish legends available for various prices, but they're all, I think, pretty good value. You've got a pretty decent goal poacher in Torres. You've got an interesting one in Villa as a dummy runner. It's a bit different. And then you've got Guardiola as a deep line playmaker. One or two ways you could train him, more defensive minded or just focus on his passing ability, which is fantastic. But yeah, and all three have got that extra booster slot if you want to increase a few attributes by a whopping 1. Happy days. But yeah, I think they're all pretty good value, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. I'll be doing another Player of the Week prediction video. That'll be up in the next day or so. Otherwise, I'll probably be seeing you on Thursday for Player of the Week, unless I do a stream at some point. I'm crazy busy at the moment, but I do have to do a stream soon. So hopefully I'll see you soon for that or for one of the next videos. But either way, hopefully you found this interesting and helpful. Thanks for watching as always. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever day I get this live, hopefully Sunday. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekends. Take it easy. I'll see you soon.